Okay, starting again with the Tecumseh 10 horsepower snowblower machine. I was doing some electrical diagnosis last time in the last video. It tests that these points are good. The capacitor, I've got, well, my meter's not exactly accurate, but somewhere between 15 and 23 microfarads. I think that's good. So I'm going to suspect it's this coil that's died. These coils are semi-universal from back in the day, and I'm going to hope that the one I've got here is the right one because I'm just guessing at it. I did order a new one of the right type, brand new, but this is like an aftermarket company that makes stuff Stens, and basically this is your new piece. First of all, the wires aren't long enough, but what we got to do is get this clip off. Then that thing just slides up, and let's see if it looks like everything's gonna fit. The depth looks good. We just might have to splice these wires rather than put them on like wherever this one's designed for. But because I have it today, I'm going to try it, and if it doesn't work for some reason, then I'll wait for the new parts to come in. So I'm going to start by just trying to pry that clip off. These clips aren't available new, so I got to be kind of gentle getting it pried off of there. Well, at least I couldn't find the part number for them. They might be available, but I couldn't find the part number. I don't get what that is. Does that have to come up? Never done one on this type before. Machine's probably built in the Stone Ages or something. I don't know if that one has to come up flat and it stays, or if that's part of the clip. Don't know why that's there. There we go. She's coming. Yeah, that part just stays, so that must lock that thing down. So this part has to be up and probably take some of that corrosion off there, so it'll slide up better once we get it started. And then I'm guessing we just got to get our wires taken off from wherever they go. Here's one. I'm just going to open that up because I'm going to need to take it off for the next one anyway, right? Reuse that terminal, or why don't I just use a regular terminal? Why am I going with the weird one? I'm guessing that's where that other white wire was that I replaced yesterday. Now that I look at it, it has two holes in it. That's one, and the other goes down to this ground screw, which looks pretty rusty. Ooh, came off. Wow. Didn't think that was going to happen after how many years? So that one's going to be long enough. The other one, I think I might have to lengthen it. Yeah, maybe not. Let's see. I don't know if it'll make it or not, but this one will. Well, one of them will. Let's just see what happens. It moved. Good. We're getting there. Yep. Yeah, see, that's just iron post there. It's part of the magnet system. And I should have watched which way this was turned. Maybe I'll rewind the camera footage. How about that? Alright, it could only go this way. Comes out the back. So we'll get that seated all the way down. Put this clip on. Actually, let me check the wires first. Oh, this one's got the wires coming out the front side. Isn't that interesting? This one will reach the ground. Will the other one reach? I don't think if I fish it right, it still won't reach probably, but let's see what happens. Let me get the clip back on because it looks like we're going to not have to take it back off. Come on, old girl. I don't want to slip and impale myself. I'm going to try to get a pliers on there and just kind of nibble it. And then the coil moves up. Yeah, sure. Let's try the same thing again. Wow, is that going to be a bugger? I'll get this, I'll bring it back. Okay, got it back down. Got it laying good and flat, and then I folded that retainer back down. I think that's just in case this clip ever gives up, that you got something holding that from getting eaten up by the flywheel. Overall, it looks like it'll work. I'm just going to start by putting the ground wire on first. Well, I'm calling it a ground. I guess it would be a ground. It's going to the ground. Try to get all these other ones lined up. There's the one I got and two more that's got to line up. Now if I get this down there, will it reach? Oh my gosh, that is the one we needed. it actually reached without having to splice that cable, wire, whatever. That is actually a win. Alright. This one just likes to sit there, doesn't it? Okay, so I'm going to go and put 1, 2, and that thing pushes in every time I mess with it. The one we got, and then there's the kill wire that I've taken off, so I've got to find that. Okay, and I can't put the kill wire on right now because that is, it's got to feed through the housing and go to this, so I need to mount this first. So I think we're ready to do that. Okay, we weren't ready to do that. First of all, the condenser wire wasn't connected. I found that when I flipped it over. Thought there was one more, but sometimes you, whatever. We'll make sure that goes on. But the other thing is, before I set it against there, you've got to put this new wire. It's just a universal piece of wire, and then you got to clip your end on later when you get your length right. So I'm going to see if we, I guess this just pushes in. Looks like it's got a needle in there that'll pierce it for the center. I don't know how that's never going to pull out of there. Well, let's try it. I think it probably screws in. Most of these things have a way of retention. There's got to be something in there. Yeah, it stopped at a certain point. So there's a screw that centers itself in the electrode in the center. Pretty sure that's how that's supposed to stay in there, because otherwise, how would it? And then, like I said, this clip will go on. Your spark plug goes in this hole, and that'll go on last. And I'll just reuse the old boot so nobody gets shocked. Okay, now I'll just see about fitting this back on there. It was facing like this. Now the question is, that being the case, how was this ran? This was just ran up and over, I think. Good. And as far as setting the timing on this, these holes are oblong. You could set it one way or another. You could clock it different ways. I'm going to put those bolts exactly where the old bolt marks are, and we're going to be just fine. Which was about in the center. A little bit off center, right there. Well, it moved, of course. That also can move you forward and back from the flywheel, so you do want to get that just how it was. Let me get a little hammer and tap that down just to here. Too tight. Top one's right where I want it, but the bottom one is not giving up easy. There we go. Come on. It'll hold right there. I think we got it. Alright. Then this, you want to put it behind. Oh dear. Or maybe it goes in front, because it does have a little kick there. Nah, I'm going to put it behind, I think. Better yet, just like that. In front, then behind. That'll make it. And this just fell off, and I did not record which hole that was in because I was planning on leaving it there. There's a multitude of holes that could go in, so a lot of times you can see a little wear mark on one. I'll look it over carefully and see what we can find. And then what I got to do is hook up, don't forget the condenser wire, get our kill wire, now I got to find that little nut. I'm going to start these in the down position, then as it gets tight it might drag them with. Because I don't have a washer on there and I probably should. Alright, that's good and tight. I'm going to go just a little more to get that one to spin. I'll bet I will. That way it's more at a 90-degree angle. Okay, we got this one tucked back in there. 1, 2, condenser, kill wire. That should do it. I'm just going to move the clamp on the gas line, fuel line, because it will be difficult to get at later if I have the cover on there. There we go. Alright, now I've got this pretty much established. I'm just going to leave it full length. It's not going to hurt anything. Pull off the old cap, get the old piece of metal, the old metal spring out of there, and then I'll feed the new one through. Alright, put this through all the way, make it come out. I'm going to put some oil on that. Okay, now I'm going to put the end I got the end off the used one. I'm just going to fill it up with some oil to make it easy to slide through, hopefully. Pull your wire through too far, and then we will. This one's got a little needle, it'll pierce it, so we gotta do that first. Good. And then pull up your boot. I don't know if you can see in there. This one's got a split in it. Didn't realize that till just now. Till it goes flat. Alright. Okay, back here with the Tecumseh 10 horse. You would not believe how many times I've had that cover back on and off thinking I didn't have spark, and it turns out I was turning the nut was a drill, and that drill wasn't turning it fast enough. That was the problem the whole time. So I figured that out after taking the points and condenser out and replacing them with a different set, and you don't even want to know. But anyway, let's see if we can get this thing to fire up. remembered. Never tightened the plug. Whether that's part of the problem or not, I don't know, but it's not running even. Finicky. Very finicky. Okay, so back here with the engine, I think the reason it was running so erratically was because the oil was filled with water, so that turned into a gray slurry. So I gave it a couple of oil changes to try to flush it out, and did some more adjusting on the carb. It's really a finicky carburetor. I'm not sure why it's that finicky, but I think we got it now. Alright, I think we got it running good enough. Obviously the gear selector mechanism down on the bottom is not happy. It's a little sticky right now. The other thing I noticed is when I turned the chute, this gear needs to be farther in. Pretty sure there's just a nut. I'm going to move that in because right now it's kind of just right on the edge of grabbing it and not grabbing it. So I'm going to end this video here, being that we got it running where we want it, and I'll do the mechanisms and everything else in a separate video. I'm just going to get some oil down through that hole there, or take that cover off and just see what grease something up down there, because that's just not really, it's real sticky right there. It really wants to stick. So anything that sits. Then I'm going to hook up something with the kill wire system. It has a switch there. I don't know, it looks a little crusty. I might have to replace the switch. I want to put a kill wire on there, because otherwise you have to go all the way down the engine if you chop something up or whatever. So and then I'll fix this in the next video. And I noticed one of these, the one that's turned away from me, is bent real bad, one of those spirals. So I'll just bend that back, maybe give these a little grease if I don't think they have grease fittings on them. So that'll be for the next video. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel. This is part 2 of the Tecumseh 10 horse. Oh, and I'll also be building a cover of some sort to cover over those belts, because if they got snow on them and wet, they're just going to slip and turn the machine useless in about a half a second. So I'll have to make some kind of cover for that. So, thanks for watching.